everyone, and welcome to the ARPA Grants Project Showcase. My name is Chelsea Conaway, and I serve as the Executive Director of the Human Services Alliance of Greater Prince William. And we are so glad that you could be here with us today. What we're going to do is just do a very high-level overview of the ARPA Community Grant Program and some of the wonderful projects that we have gotten to fund with our first round of funding. So let's get into it. Okay, so we are going to be going over today what the ARPA Community Grant Program is, what the projects will do, who they will serve, all these great things, how they can be accessed, just so you'll know how to get all of that good information. So just a little bit about the Human Services Alliance of Greater Prince William. We are a 501c3 nonprofit association of human services providers that are serving in Prince William County, Virginia, the city of Manassas, and the city of Manassas Park. And it's really neat that we get to work with all types of human services providers. So not just nonprofit or government, but also private families that are helping out their neighbors. We get to work with individuals. We get to work with businesses, hospital systems, schooling groups, faith-based groups, all types of wonderful traditional and non-traditional service providers. And it's quite a privilege. Some of the things that we are able to do are because of a very generous grant that we get from Prince William County government, being one of their community partners. And we also collect membership dues. So if you were ever wondering, how is the Alliance funded? Well, now you know. We have a board of directors that leads our efforts, and they are made up of our members. So other human services providers come and kind of help to guide and structure what it is that we'll be doing throughout our program year. So here's a little bit about our grant making efforts. We began grant making in 2020 in response to the COVID-19 public health emergency. And so our first efforts were to partner with Prince William County government and the cities of Manassas and Manassas Park to form the Prince William Area Disaster Fund. And that is this really cool crowdsourced funding mechanism where private citizens can actually go and say, I'm going to give $25 or I'm going to contribute $1,000 or $35,000. And we put all of that money together, and then we are able to make grants from it for human services providers that are going to be working in different areas of need that have been identified in response to the pandemic. And so through that effort, we funded about $60,000 just kind of in that first year or so. And it was really neat because we were able to do that before a lot of the federal funding was set up to be distributed. So it really kind of stood in the gap for a lot of groups, and we were really happy that we could serve in that way. And once we got our feet wet as it pertains to being able to do some grant making, we then partnered with Prince William County government to administer $3 million in CARES Act funding. And CARES Act funding was really focused on addressing the immediate relief needs early on in the pandemic in that first year, where we weren't really seeing a lot in terms of our people who are in need being able to access their relief grants that they were getting from the government, those stimulus checks that a lot of folks got. And so we were able to kind of help out in that way. And that was really, really exciting. So fast forward to ARPA. In 2021, the government passed and my chair is sinking. Sorry, guys. So in 2021, the government passed legislation called the American Rescue Plan Act. And in 2022, Prince William County government decided to pass some of that money on to nonprofits, and the Board of County Supervisors voted to partner with the Alliance to do so. And so $10 million was allocated to help between now and 2024 so that we could really address recovery instead of just doing relief as we had been doing. And the distinction in some areas is pretty similar, but the focus ultimately is to have a longer term intervention that we are going to be able to provide for Prince William County families than what some of our immediate relief efforts were doing. So that kind of kicked off how we were going to be doing our ARPA community grant program. And we said, okay, we really got to help push this money out whenever we got the okay to start working on it. In January, by February, we were having information sessions. By March, we had launched the RFP period, and people could start applying for funding and could start submitting their project proposals. And then going into March, April, we started making those grant awards and getting that money dispersed. And now, as we are at the end of April, that money is being used in the community. So we were moving kind of quickly in comparison to some grant programs that might take a little bit longer. We were trying to really make it where we could get those dollars out into the community to be used sooner than later, which of course we could not have done if we did not have the support of our community behind us. And so how we were able to do that was we have a committee of really amazing volunteers that came and helped us to review all of these different proposals. And what happened is we delegated that task to them to review and score the proposals that were submitted, and then make funding recommendations to us as to which groups they thought we should partner with and which projects they thought we should fund. And so once we got those recommendations back, we met with those organizations, saw if the partnership would be a good fit, and if we thought that they would be able to accommodate what we would need from them as it pertained to compliance and reporting. And then we partnered with 33 nonprofits. And so that's what we're going to go over today. A little bit more about the ARPA Community Grant Program. We, in this first round, have just made a little bit over $6 million worth of grants, and the grants range between $10,000 and $300,000. And just a fun fact, so the Alliance, for administering this program, we can use up to $550,000 of that $10 million to address administration, operations, staffing, making sure that we have everything that we need to really shore up the program and make it a great experience for our grant partners and our applicants and different folks in the community that will be interacting with this program. So a little bit more about our focus areas as it pertains to funding. If you think about the entire pandemic and you think about everything that needs to be addressed with it, it's everything. This pandemic has really impacted so many different things. So we had to narrow down what our focus would be as it pertained to recovery efforts in Prince William County. We based this on what we had been seeing over the past 2 years as being needs that were really lasting and emergent, and things that were coming up that have needed to be addressed and continue to need to be addressed, and something that we really needed to have a longer term intervention than we had been having with some of our other grant making efforts. And so with that, we decided to fund navigation and application support for rent and mortgage assistance and helping people to access public benefits. One of the things that we found is that, if we made a payment, or one of our grant partners that we funded made a payment on behalf of someone for rent, that might help them for a month or 2 months or 3 months, but they would oftentimes have to come back for more help. And that's just because the pandemic was so incredibly devastating to very many families and very many households that just a little drop in the bucket really wasn't going to do it. And so what we decided to do was to take our funding and invest in community navigators within these organizations, within the groups that are already entrenched in our communities, so that they could help people to access services that can be a lot more comprehensive, and to access groups that could really help them to connect to a program that might last all the way for 18 months or 12 months, or to get them on something that could potentially even last for years. So those are some things that we decided to do instead of just funding direct assistance for rent and utilities, or for rent and mortgage, excuse me. So with utilities, we are doing direct assistance. And so we have grant partners that have projects that are only funding utility assistance. We have groups that are doing childcare assistance. We know that for many families, they may have been at home with their little people throughout the pandemic. And now that a lot of places are opening back up, it's time to go back to work physically and to report back to an office or a site that is not in your house. And so now they have to do something with those little people that they've got to be home with for a while. We're also funding emergency shelter. And so we know that a lot of individuals have had to really rethink their housing situations throughout the course of the pandemic, whether it's people who would have to quarantine from their family and maybe they're living in a household that doesn't allow them to safely do that, or whether it's people who are unhoused and who can't quarantine where they are because they might be in an encampment or someplace that it's not safe for them to do that. So we have some funding and some groups that are going to be funding emergency shelter. We also have a number of groups that are going to be doing employment support. So one of the things that sadly happened with the pandemic is there were jobs that have gone away that will not be coming back. And that might be because the business that they worked for closed, or there have been different, changes in our culture in terms of what was really, really popular at one time to do. Now that we know more about how cootie spread is not going to be quite as popular as it once was. And so with all of those things being taken into consideration, a lot of people have to be retrained. They have to learn new skills. They're going to have to upskill. They might have to go back and get advanced education or certifications or what have you. And so we have a number of grant partners that are helping them to do that career counseling and planning, and then connecting them with the tools and resources that they need for employment support so that they can obtain employment and then maintain it. And so something else that we have seen, and I'm sure you all have seen, that has been very crucial for many of us, I think almost everybody in some way or another has been impacted emotionally or mentally by the pandemic. It's been a very trying 2.5 years. And so we really wanted to invest in mental health supports and behavioral health supports. And that does include preventative medicine too, and preventative measures. And so you'll see that we have a large number of our grant projects that are going to be addressing things like counseling, providing free counseling, or providing supportive services, or helping to manage medications, or helping to manage emotions and psychological support. So we're really, really excited about that as well. And then finally, but certainly not least, we really invested a lot in the administrative and operational support of hunger relief programming. So one of the things that when the pandemic started, you would see all over TV, all over real life, when you're driving down the street, are people waiting in line to get food, to access food, to visit food pantries. And it was so heartbreaking because we all know what it feels like to be hungry to a degree. And to know that so many households were dealing with hunger was really, really unfortunate. And so of all of the needs that we have, hunger has consistently been identified as one of the most outstanding, one of the ones that's lasting, one of the ones that continues. And so when the pandemic started, people that were already maybe food insecure, or that were already struggling financially, were really, really negatively impacted. A lot of those groups that maybe got their food from places where they gathered, whether that was at their church, or if that was at their school, or if that was at a community center, when they weren't able to access those places as readily, it messed with their food security and how much they were able to feed themselves and their families. And so we've really been intentional throughout the course of the pandemic of making sure that we are investing in that need, which is so, so dire. So that is an overview of what our focus areas are and why we funded the ones that we funded. And so I'll just go over a few more things. In terms of the groups that we funded, the actual organizations that we partnered with, they had to be 501c3 organizations. They had to be working in Prince William County and have a legacy and a history and experience working in this community. This is a very unique community. It's not like other communities. And so they had to show that they could do this here. We also had to make it where, even if they were headquartered elsewhere, they had a presence here and they had relationships here. And so we factored all of that in when we were evaluating them, when our grant review committee was evaluating these projects, we looked into all of those things as well as what their impact has been and what it could be. So something else that we had as a stipulation in terms of how they could use their ARPA funds, these grant partners, is that they had to be providing service to Prince William County residents. Now that could be in the form of a direct service, meaning I am going to provide you counseling, or I am going to provide you with X service, this training, this education, this work support. Or it might have been in a financial service, which would say, I'm going to pay this utility bill on your behalf. I'm going to pay for these work boots or this training on your behalf. And then also what their projects could do would just be administrative support and operational support, or helping them to purchase a piece of equipment, something that might help to build their organizational capacity. So maybe, if they're providing all of these direct services, if we could help them to really shore up what it is that they do, then it could help them to serve even more people. All right, so who can our grant partners serve? All of these projects, could apply to anybody, but for the most part, most of them are, kind of restricted in some ways. So all of our projects are to serve Prince William County residents. The people who they're working with must be Prince William County residents. So, and there are some exceptions to this, and I'll mention that very briefly at the end, but also they must be income eligible at or below 300% of the federal poverty guideline. And I'll show you momentarily what that looks like. But it's for people who have been the most negatively impacted financially by this pandemic. Most of these services are. And then also people that can show that they have been impacted by the pandemic. With other funding programs we've had, it wasn't necessarily, it wasn't necessary to demonstrate that, but as we are going on, we want to make sure that we're helping the people who have been most negatively impacted by the events that have happened over the last couple of years. And so that is a requirement for this program. And now, depending on the service category, there are a few exceptions to that. So for instance, a program like mental health does not require that the people who are coming to get counseling or the people that are coming to get that assistance be financially disadvantaged or economically disadvantaged, as well as it does not require that they prove that there was an impact that happened. So really, when you're going through and you're reaching out to these groups, they've been very well trained on who was eligible for their services and what information they need to ask and collect. And so they will brief you on that when you go to contact them. So here is just a quick overview of the federal poverty guidelines so that you can see the households that we're serving. And right here, it has what that amount is that they would earn either annually or per month. And then it has the number of people in that household. So we tried to kind of up it to 300%, which is the highest, the max that the ARPA funding allowed, but it's for low to moderate income households. And now I'm going to introduce our operations manager, Reggie Thomas. Reggie Thomas, sorry, my chair's sinking again.
No, it's okay.
And Reggie, I'm going to let you take it away while I fix my chair.
All right, sounds good. Hey, everybody. My name is Reginald Thomas. Or Reggie Thomas. I'm the operations manager for the Human Services Alliance of Greater Prince William County. And thank you, everybody, for being here. We're super excited to basically, we've been keeping the secret for about a week or two, about who got funded and what's going on. And we've been just wanting to burst out the information to everybody. So we're super excited that we're able to share this information with you today. So basically, we're just going to go over a couple of things. We're going to go over just basically the people who were funded. We had an overwhelming amount of applications, which, we wish that we could fund everybody. But the cool thing is that even with the applications that came in, there are a lot of amazing projects and a lot of amazing people in the city of or the county of Prince William who are doing great things. So thank you, everybody who got funded. Thank you, everybody who did an application who didn't get funded. We're super excited still about everything that you're doing in the community. And it was an overwhelming amount of people that are out there trying to help people. So that was very, very encouraging to see. So we're just going to go over briefly what our organizations that were funded are doing. Now, when I say brief, it is going to be brief because if we were to share every intricate detail about what they're doing, your whole Saturday is going to be taken up just with me talking. And I don't think I'm that special. So we're going to go over it briefly, but we do encourage you that if you have any question about any specific project or any thing that you want to look into deeper, we do have information that's going to be published on our website about what the organizations are doing in more detail. But also we're going to have contact information. We have asked every organization to provide us the contact information of who's going to be the main person to answer questions on their project. So we do encourage you to get that contact information, especially if you're trying to navigate people to certain services that people are providing. So we will be brief, but there's a lot more that goes into what they're doing. So if you have questions, we definitely encourage you to get the contact information and ask us as many questions as possible. So we're just going to go briefly through the 33 partners that we have that we did fund for this application. Like Chelsea said, we gave over $6 million out in this funding. So we are excited about that, but we'll start with the first one. And all these are in no particular order of importance. Actually, it's alphabetical, so it's awesome. But the first one we have is Action in Community through Service, also known as ACTS. They were awarded $298,733. And what they're doing is they're doing childcare assistance. Also, they're doing counseling for existing ACTS domestic violence clients. And they're also using the money, like Chelsea said, we're able to use money to help with community feeding assistance programs. So they have one of their programs, so they're using partial of the money for that. So super excited about that. Our next one is we have All Saints Church. They are receiving $90,000. And they are receiving that to help with the community feeding assistance program that they have. And basically with that funding, they're going to be funding things like supplies and equipment. And they provide, fresh, non-perishable foods for anyone in the community as they have need. And they do that in monthly giveaways and also a lot of other great ways. So All Saints Church is we're super excited to be working with. And all these we're super excited to be working with, even if I don't say that at the end. So well, I'll put it like that. So Blue Ribbon Results Academy, they're an amazing preschool that is located here in Prince William County. They are getting $300,000. And with that, they are providing childcare for people in the greater Prince William area. Blue Ribbon's a brain-based preschool. They also focus on speech and occupational therapy and screening, and also have speech therapy. So that's awesome that we have a preschool doing that. The next one we have is Bras. They are receiving $50,000, and they are going to be providing underwear and menstrual supplies in support of employment. Bras is a great organization that does a lot in our community to help with employment support in that area with providing those supplies. Then we have CASA Incorporated, CASA Inc. They are getting $250,000. And they're going to be doing navigation services, also application counseling and referrals for rent, mortgage, and public benefits. Like we said, that's one of the things that we are, and you'll see that there are other organizations doing that, but we do have a lot of people that we're funding to help with benefit services, navigating them to where they can get help with the rent in that month. But one of the things that we did find is that even as there are other organizations and other money that's out there that can provide rent support for longer than a month. Maybe it could be 2 months, maybe it could be 6 months. So we want, so basically with this navigation services, a lot of organizations are going to be able to navigate people to different pieces where they can get totality help, but they can also get help for a longer period of time. So CASA is doing that. Then we have Centro de Apoyo Familiar. They were awarded $300,000. They're going to be doing, like we said, navigation services, application counseling, and referrals for rent, mortgage, and public benefits assistance. Also, they do have a community feeding assistance program that they will be being funded through this money. Crossroads Connections is the next one. They were awarded $50,000, $50,700 to be exact. Dollars, and they're using that to help with our community feeding assistance program. We're definitely excited that we're able to fund for a lot of these feeding assistance programs because it's definitely very needed. Let's go to the next slide. There we go. EDU for Toro, they were awarded $300,000. They will be providing employment support, navigation services, application counseling. Also, they'll be doing referrals for rent, mortgage assistance, and public benefits assistance. So excited about that. We have First Home Alliance. They were awarded $300,000 as well. They will be providing financial literacy education, one-on-one housing counseling, and case management. Also, they'll be doing navigation services and application counseling and referrals for rent, mortgage, and public benefits assistance. So thank you, First Home Alliance. Then we have Forum Families Forward. They were awarded $55,000. And they are going to be providing mental health support to families raising young children with or at risk for disabilities. We are super excited, and Chelsea spoke on this a little bit ago, but we're super excited about being able to offer people mental health support. Also, we're also excited is if you looked at the slide, actually 3 slides ago, there are certain exclusions that apply in terms of what we have to collect from people. So it's great that even when it comes to mental health support and anybody is navigating people to any of these organizations with mental health support, the only qualifying factor is that they have to live in the area. So it's great that they can get help no matter income level, no matter COVID impact, mental health support. We're super excited is the qualifying factor is just living in the county. So definitely wanted to point that out because we're excited about that. So let's go. Then we got George Mason University. They were awarded $300,000. We're excited to work with the university there. And they're going to be providing free mental health support in English and Spanish to Prince William County residents. So they're great. They're going to be basically trying to break down the language barrier that some people may have with getting mental health support. So they really wanted to focus on that, and we're super excited to be partnering with them. Then we have Grace Life Community Church. They were awarded $300,000, and they will be doing free mental health counseling. Awesome. And then doing community feeding assistance program. They have a program, so they're going to be funding for staffing and equipment, supplies, and they're going to be purchasing vans that they're able to deliver supplies as well. So that we're excited about that. Then we have Greater Prince William Health Center, another $300,000 award. They are going to be providing free mental health counseling as well. Then our next organizations we have is Higher Ground. They received $282,700, and they will be providing skills training, job placement, and employment support. Very excited about the organization, all of them, but even just with the employment support, you know, even with a lot of the projects that we're funding for this one, is I think what cares, and I think Chelsea spoke about this, the need was so immediate that let's pay for rent. Let's make sure people aren't getting kicked out of their apartment. It was so immediate. But a lot of these projects that we're doing, especially in employment support, mental health counseling, just everything, is built to have more of a long-lasting effect. So we're excited to help with employment support because that is not something where you're just getting help for like a month, but you're getting help for stuff that could last for years in the future. So all these projects, definitely excited about the fact that it's going to be longevity help and relief for a lot of people. So let's keep going. Then we have the Muslim Association of Virginia. They were awarded $78,100, and they will be doing community feeding assistance programs. So they'll be funding for things like staff. Also, they have been in need for refrigerators and walk-in freezers at their organization. That's going to help them be able to help a lot more people. So they're going to be funding for that with the grant. Then we have New Creatures in Christ Ministries Incorporated. They were awarded $300,000, and they will be doing emergency shelter and extended stay hotel support. They'll also be doing navigation services and application counseling for referrals for rent, mortgage, and public assistance. And also they will be using partial of the money to fund for community feeding assistance program. I'm excited to be working with New Creatures in Christ Ministries. Then we have Northern Virginia Family Services. They were awarded $210,261. They will be providing navigation services, application counseling, and referrals for rent, mortgage, and public benefits assistance. Thank you, Northern Virginia Family Services. Then we have the Northern Virginia Food Rescue. They were awarded $10,900, and they'll be using that for administration and operations in the community feeding assistance program, really for the installation of two, freezers that they were needing to further their causes in Northern Virginia food rescue programs. So super excited to be working with them, and just the amount of people that they're going to be able to continue to help being able to get the supplies that they need. Northern Virginia Veterans Association is the next one. They are getting $241,050. With this money, they'll be doing navigation services and application counseling and referrals for rent, mortgage, and public benefits assistance. Thank you, Veteran Association. Then we have Postpartum Support Virginia. They were awarded $60,000, and with this money, they will be doing free mental health counseling. And that would be in a lot of care and coordination of support groups for pregnant and prenatal people suffering from maternal mental health issues. So thank you, Postpartum Support of Virginia. Then we have Prince William County Community Foundation Incorporated. They were awarded $203,920, and they'll be using that for the administration and operations of their community feeding assistance program, using it for things like funding for staffing, equipment, space rental, marketing. Also, some of you might have heard it. They have a chow wagon, so they're going to be using that to actually fund for that as well. So be on the lookout for that. We're super excited about that. Then we have St. Francis. They are awarded, and I'm going to say St. Francis as a ZC, sorry if I pronounced it wrong, but Catholic Church Triangle. They were awarded $300,000, and they will be providing just utility assistance in the way of water, heat, gas, and electricity. Some people, sadly, are still behind, even from a year ago, in terms when it comes to utilities assistance. So they're going to be providing help with that. So super excited to be working with you, St. Francis. Then we have St. Thomas United Methodist Church. They were awarded $238,646. They're going to be providing general direct financial assistance to Prince William County residents. They also, they have a clothing closet with in-demand work clothes and diapers in support of employment and childcare access. So they will be providing those perishable or non-perishable items to their clients and to the community. And also they will be funding for their community feeding assistance program. Such things as staffing, supplies, equipment, and including a forklift. So great. Thank you so much, St. Francis United Methodist Church. Then we have Streetlight Community Outreach Ministries. They were awarded $160,000, and they will be providing utility assistance. They'll be providing emergency shelters at extended stay hotels. So thank you, Streetlight. Then we have Tenants of and Workers United. They were awarded $295,805, and they will be providing navigation services, application counseling, referrals for rent, mortgage, and benefits assistance. Then we have the ARC of Greater Prince William. They were awarded $92,410, and they are going to be providing free mental health support to people with developmental disabilities. The ARC will give teens and adults iPads and train them on how to use them and participate in virtual classes to improve their mental health and emotional well-being. That's one thing that we saw is that virtual health is becoming telehealth and virtual health is becoming a real asset to a lot of people. It's exciting to see so many people getting help with their mental health, mainly because they're able to use those tools in terms of telehealth and virtual health. So we have the Good News Community Food Kitchen, and they were awarded $182,483, and they will be using that to fund for the Community Feeding Assistance Program. The funding will include staffing, equipment, and supplies that they are needed to continue to do their great work. Then we have the House Incorporated. They were awarded $190,000, and they will be using this also to fund for the Community Feeding Assistance Program and the operation of their Hangry truck. I love that name. I just think it's funny, but we're excited about them being able to use that to keep funding for that. And thank you for the great work you're doing, the House. Then we have the Women's Center Incorporated. They were awarded $92,680, and they will be providing free mental health counseling to women, children, men, families, and teens. So thank you for doing that. Then we have Virginia Community Food Connections. They were awarded $150,000, and they will be using that also to fund for the community feeding assistance programs. So thank you so much for Virginia Community Food Connections. We are excited to be working with you. Then we have the Woodbridge First Church of Nazarene, Woodbridge Nazarene for short, but they were awarded $300,000, and they will be also using that to help fund for the community feeding assistance program in the form of staffing, supplies, and purchase of construction of a walk-in commercial freezer that definitely is needed. So it's great. Even a lot of these projects, being able to get more fridges and freezers and being able to do this construction, it's amazing how much more people they're going to be able to help by doing that. So we're excited to be working with y'all and look forward to how you're serving the community. Then we have Woodbridge Workers Committee. They're getting $85,902 to fund for utility assistance, very needed in the county. So thank you, Woodbridge Workers Committee. Then last but not least, only because you're a Y, but we have Youth for Tomorrow New Life Center. They were awarded $300,000, and they will be providing free mental health counseling and psychiatric medication management for children, adolescents, and adults. So thank you so much, Youth for Tomorrow. And that is our list of 33 people. So guys, I know we went through it very fast and it was very brief, but like I said, we have information on our website where you can get so much more information just on more details about these people. Also, please feel free to contact these organizations if you have any questions. They are there, they're ready to answer your questions. And even with contacting people, one great thing is that we noticed that every organization has levels of things that they are experts at. But with 33 organizations that we're partnering with, we're trying to work together and trying to navigate people to where to go for mental health counseling. Okay, you need utilities, go to this person. So even with this contact information, a lot of that is built because it's 33 organizations. We're working together, navigating people to all these great things that are going on in the community. Then it's awesome that a lot of people can get a lot of help in a lot of different areas. So please use that contact list if you have any questions. Also, we're always here to answer any questions that you have at any time. And let's go to the next slide. And then just to let you know, we will have a second round of funding that is planned for early 2023. So super exciting. This is not the only time we're doing this. We're gonna have a whole nother launch and a whole nother talking about the organizations that we're working with next time. So that will be happening in 2023, at early 2023. And we'll give you information about that way before that time comes. Then we have organizations that submitted proposals in the first round that were not funded are encouraged to submit again. Please submit again. We had, like I said, we had an overwhelming amount of applications last time. And if you weren't funded, it does not mean your organization is not amazing. We think all of you are great. So we invite you to please apply for next time. I don't know why I forgot the word apply for a second. Please apply for next time. If you have any questions about your applications, you're definitely welcome to reach out to us at any time. So please, reach out with our email, and that'll be on the next slide that you can reach out to. Organizations that were awarded ARPA funds for a project in the first round, they can submit a proposal, but it needs to either be for a separate project or an enhancement of their existing project. So you can't get funded again if you were funded this round, but it needs to be something separate, or it needs to be something that is new that you're doing with the existing project of what you're working on. Also, the ARPA Community Grant Program is scheduled to end in 2024. So it's great. It's, we're kind of in mid 2022 right now. It's funny, I was about to say 2023 and skip like a whole year, but we're in kind of mid 2022 right now. So the great thing about this funding is that this is stuff that's going to be able to spend over the long run, over the next couple of years. When we did CARES Act, the funding came so quick and we had to get it out so quick that really we had about 3 or 4 months really where funding was going on. So we're excited about this, that people are able to get help for a longer period of time than we're with CARES. So we're excited about that. So that'll be ending in 2024. And then where to learn more about the Prince William County ARPA Community Grant Program and its projects. Go to the next slide. We have everything. So please go to our website at www.alliance.org/ARPA. Has a ton of information on there. That's where you'll get the contact list. That's where you'll get more details about each and every project. Also, I love the shameful plug that I do every time. Please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. One thing that we're going to do a lot of with this project is we are going to highlight a lot of what our organizations are doing. Reason being, because we have great organizations, but another reason, especially in this county and especially for all of us who work in this sector, is that there's enough stuff that you can watch on the news and enough things that you can look at that is bad news or stuff that's just not uplifting or whatever. One great thing that even that I was blessed with being able to do this through CARES is I got to see a lot of the success stories. I got to hear a lot of what y'all were doing. And to tell you the truth, even throughout CARES, that was something that helped get me through that period, was seeing the things that y'all did. So we want to share that with the county. There's enough things out there that's bad news to get discouraged about, no matter who you are. So even on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, we're going to be highlighting a lot of what you're doing. So please follow us on that. Please have people follow us on that so people can just get good news as well. And also, if any organization, even if you did not get funded through this round, we want to invite you. If you have anything that you have going on in the community that you want the Alliance to be a part of, or that you want us to come and take pictures and kind of highlight on these mediums or these social media outlooks, we would love to do that. So we are really looking forward to highlighting y'all and putting what your organization is doing up on a pedestal, because it's good for us, it's good for our community, and y'all are doing great work that we want people to know about. So please sign up for our e-newsletter. We have that as well. And if you have any questions, please use grants@alliancegpw.org. That's where to submit all your questions. I know I even have some through chat that I've answered through people, and people wanting to schedule meetings or just have questions. So if you want to schedule a meeting, if you have a question or anything, please go to that website. We will be monitoring it frequently. So it will not take a week to hear from us or anything like that. We will get back to you if you use that. So please use grants@alliancegpw.org. And we look forward to serving you and look forward to meeting with you. And thank you, everybody, people who are funded, people who are not funded, people who are here just trying to see where to navigate people to this. We are super excited, even when I'm looking at the names and the support that we have that's on this call right now. We're super excited for each and every one of you and to be working with you. So thank you so much for taking time out of your Friday to be here with us.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Reggie, for that thorough overview. It was brief but thorough. So thank you so much, and for sharing how people can get in contact with the Alliance. At this time, we'd like to do just a few quick special thanks, and then we'll get into our frequently asked questions. And it's as soon as I start talking, my chair sinks. And so, okay, we're just gonna get into that. But I did want to remind you all that if you have any questions, please submit them in the chat box and we will choose from there. Because there are so many of us, we are not going to be able to let you all unmute yourselves and speak. So that is how we are going to take your questions if you don't submit them to our email. All right. So we would like to thank the Board of County Supervisors. Thank you so much for deciding to partner with us, for voting to approve this funding, and really for this monumental commitment that you all have made to nonprofits in Prince William County. When you see your supervisor, just show your appreciation to them for this. A lot of communities, most communities, are not using their ARPA funding in this way. This is a mechanism that is really, really cool in the sense that they are entrusting the Alliance to partner with you all, and they're trusting that the nonprofits know best in terms of what it is that our Prince William County residents and households need, because you all work so intimately with them every day. And so a lot of communities just took their money and said, we're going to put it here and that's where it's going. But ours actually left it up to this process that is led by the community. So thank you all so much, supervisors, for doing that. We want to thank Elijah Johnson and Sarah Henry and the amazing staff at Prince William County Government. We couldn't do this without them. Their partnership is invaluable to us. And I don't have enough words to thank them. They're so great and so wonderful to work with. And they're such a support to us. And we're just really grateful. I'd like to thank our wonderful and dedicated board of directors at the Human Services Alliance of Greater Prince William. As I stated previously, they are made up of you all. They are made up of human services providers. And so the input that they're able to give us as we're developing this program and as we're trying to identify what needs should be addressed in terms of this funding, it's been really just such a gem to be able to just make one call, that's all, and have our board members to give us guidance and support and just encouragement. And last but certainly not least, we would like to thank Bonnie Fulford. So Bonnie came on as our program director, program manager for ARPA, and has just been so helpful in terms of helping us to launch this program. We could not have done it without her. Just such a wonderful addition to our team. And we have been so blessed to have her in our ranks. And so one of the things that I wanted to share with you all today is that it is Bonnie's last day. So Bonnie had some great opportunities come up. So she's going to be transitioning off of the Alliance team, but we just wanted to take some time to just flower her with love and thanks and just publicly share how grateful we are to have had her with us for the time that we had her with us, and how all of the wonderful things that you all have seen, whether it was to submitting an application through the RFP portal, for those of you all that served on the grant review committee, if there are any of you on this call right now, to even how we were able to do a lot of our onboarding with our grant partners, was really due to Bonnie's hard work. And so we are just so grateful for Bonnie's contributions. And I wanted to give her a couple minutes to say a couple of words, and then we'll go on to our frequently asked questions. And a reminder, put them in the chat if you haven't already done so. So Bonnie, I don't know if you can unmute yourself. If not, let me know and I'll unmute you. That's the great part about when you mute everybody. You have to go and unmute them. Let's do unmute. Bonnie, can you hear us?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
All right. First of all, a ton of love to Reggie and Chelsea. It has been an honor and a privilege to work with the Alliance. And I was so grateful to help you get through that process of the RFP and the grant review process. And to all of the grant partners, I found myself, Reggie, when you were talking, I wanted to cheer because I've talked to everybody on the phone and shared emails. And it's like, yes, you are the boots on the ground. And, it was a tough choice, but I have a couple of other irons in the fire. And I feel like, now you're moving on to the implementation and the reporting. So my final wish for you all is use your funds wisely, report diligently, and collaborate with one another. And, you'll see me around. I'm going to be around. And again, just my very best to the Alliance and Reggie and Chelsea. It has been an honor and a privilege. And, and I'll see both of you. I'll see you.
So we're not letting Bonnie go because we want to keep her forever. So every chance we get, we're going to go and try to kidnap her from where she's going to get her back to help us with different things, because she's so talented and such a gem. And so thank you so much.
I'm happy to do that.
We love you so much.
Thank you.
And so Bonnie, when we first came and started the Alliance, Bonnie was one of the first people that we met as an Alliance member, a former member of the coalition when we were the coalition. And so Bonnie has been a consistent support to us. And so this part of our journey together as it pertains to ARPA is transitioning, but we are already like, oh, we can do this, we can do this, we can partner on that. So we're super excited. So now we're going to go into the questions and answers. So I'm going to start reading what's in my chat, and then Reggie, you can see if you've got things in your chat. Okay, let's see. Here's a great question. Are there strict conflict of interest procedures in place preventing Alliance directors and their organizations from financially benefiting from grant money passing through the Alliance? So that's a fabulous question. As we have stated, our board members are representing human services organizations. And so we made a very strategic choice when we started grant making not to exclude our board members' organizations from accessing these funds. Our board members represent groups that do really amazing work. Some of them are from really large organizations doing great things. Some of them are from smaller organizations. Some are older, some are newer, but all are really, really impactful. And so how we delineated and kind of tried to put some barriers in place is that our board of directors are not barred from applying for funding. However, they do not have a role in deciding who gets the funding. So this is how our process works. For those of you who didn't get to a chance to attend our Alliance Grants 101 training that we did last fall, I'll just do you a super quick overview. But what happens is once we announce that we have funding, our board members get high-level overviews and, you know, just kind of summaries of what's going on. So when we come to our board meeting, we'll say something like, hey guys, we have the RFP launched. If you know anybody who wants to apply. Or we'll say, hey guys, we're going to be meeting with our grant partners. We're going to be reviewing this. We will share with you when there's something to share with you that you are eligible to know. Our decisions as to who gets that funding is decided by, those decisions are decided by a volunteer committee of people who have been vetted thoroughly, who do not have conflicts with the organizations that are applying. So at the time that they onboard with us as volunteers in that committee to review those proposals, they have to disclose and sign a conflict of interest policy that we have that's specifically for them, that is saying that if they come across a proposal from a group that, you know, they may have any relationship to, whether it's that they attend the church that's applying, or maybe they have a partner or a spouse that might work or volunteer somewhere at one of the organizations, they cannot review those proposals. They are assigned other proposals to review, or if they have too many conflicts, they are asked to sit out that round, and then they don't review any of the proposals that come in that funding round. So when our grant review committee makes the recommendations for organizations to be funded, they make those recommendations to us at the Alliance staff. So Chelsea, Reggie, and Bonnie got those recommendations. We then went back and formed partnerships with those groups as we were able to do so, and as we vetted them further to make sure that they would be able to meet the rigorous demands that are required with ARPA reporting. And then we shared our list of the groups that we were funding on the same day that you all heard about it in the public. So when we announced it in the county's e-newsletter is when we also announced it to our board of directors. So it's not that they're kept in the dark, because they help us to formulate the program in terms of deciding what our values will be, what our funding areas will be, you know, helping with high level overviews in terms of, you know, what we would like to have in a partnership. But then they're completely hands off. And so our board members are hearing about all of these great groups that we're funding around the same time that you guys are hearing about them. So in terms of there being conflicts of interest, I hope that that answers your question. Something else I do want to point out is that just because a board member's organization applies does not mean that the committee will fund them. The committee funds the groups that they think are best, they score them, and then we fund them based on the ones that have the highest scores, and we go in order from highest to lowest. And so if we have a grant member, a board member whose grant proposal did not rank as highly, then they don't get funded, just like others that ranked around the level that theirs ranked at. So I hope that that answers that question. All right, let's see the next question. Okay. Will immigrants, recent immigrants, whether documented or not, be able to use the navigation services to obtain help with rent, employment, etc.? Yes. So that's such a great question, and I can't believe we didn't mention it. One of the things that we check for is, are the people who are coming to get help residents of Prince William County? To us, their documentation status does not matter. We have instructed our grant partners not to ask those questions because it doesn't matter. We don't track it. It has no bearing on whether they can be helped or not. If someone is documented or is not documented, that is irrelevant to us. And so we do not collect that information. We also do not share any of the information that we collect with any other agencies, with any other anybody. So it won't affect any public benefit status. It won't affect any type of immigration. We don't share information with the IRS. We collect information purely for what we need to prove how the money is being spent in terms of, did you get an invoice? Did you get a receipt? Or, something like that. Did you have a qualifying event that made you need help? That kind of a thing. But in terms of immigration, that is a non-issue for us. Now, for some of the organizations and some of the different resources that our grant partners might be referring people to, for instance, different housing assistance programs, those things are relevant. And so we leave that up to our grant partners to decide with their program participants which resources they're going to pursue, but we don't have anything to do with that. Okay, let's see. And then the next question. Regarding the organizations providing free mental health counseling, are there restrictions for services other than that one must be a resident of Prince William County? How should one refer to these services? And will there be a centralized referral system across these various agencies? Wonderful question. So in terms of, are there restrictions for services other than being a resident of Prince William County? No, we don't place any restrictions on there. One thing that we do is we allow our grant partners to determine who they are going to serve, in the sense that if you notice when Reggie was reading a little description about everybody, some of the grant partners are going to cater their services towards children or towards women maybe who've just had children, people who've just had children, or it might be for people that have developmental disabilities or for people that speak Spanish. And so in that sense, they can cater their services to specific groups, and they have different areas and specialties. And so we included that in the listing of available services and grant partners and projects that we're funding. However, they are not restricted. So in the sense that, you can't get service if blah, 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 or you have to be income eligible, or you have to have had an emergency. It's not restricted at all in that sense. Now, if you have a language barrier where maybe the service provider is speaking Spanish and you don't speak Spanish, then that may not be the group that you would want to make a referral to. But definitely you can go and ascertain for yourself which group you would feel most comfortable going to, and then you can just contact them directly. And then in terms of how would you refer people to those services?
Absolutely, and I'll add this to something that you said real quick, because you made a great point. Even when you're referring people to different things, one thing that actually we're very excited about is that, and even that we've learned as we're talking to a lot of the people who are providing mental health, is that mental health, a lot of it is not, and just what we're learning is that a lot of it is not a one size fits all. There's mental health that people are specializing in different things. Like people are specializing, how do I help families with kids with disabilities? How do I help women who are going through postpartum depression? How do I help? So the great thing is that we're not putting restrictions on anything, but absolutely when you're helping people, and why, we're going to put up the information of specifically what people are doing, is that these organizations have things that they specialize in that could further help who you're referring. Yeah. So the great thing is that there's no restrictions, but definitely encourage you as you're referring people to mental health services, definitely look and even contact the people who are in those organizations, because it really helps in terms of who you're navigating people to see what they specialize in.
Definitely so. Thank you so much, Reggie, for pointing that out. And on that same kind of note, something that I didn't mention that I wanted to mention is that none of the Prince William County residents that are going to these places are required to have any type of insurance. So
Right.
when we say it's provided free, it's free. There's no copay. It's free, like free in real life. And so I just wanted to add that too, just in terms of restrictions. That is not one. It's not required that people have any type of healthcare coverage to get help. And then in terms of, will there be a centralized referral system across the various agencies? We have mentioned different referral systems that people can use. We are not requiring anybody to use anything. So we're not requiring our grant partners to use any one system. We have mentioned to them different systems that are available for them to consult with if they don't already have a relationship where they can make referrals to other agencies. But so to answer your question, it's not one centralized one. We've shared with them Unite Us and No Wrong Door, and we've mentioned findhelp.org. And so there's a lot of different ones, but we're letting them choose how they're going to manage that. We don't dictate that for them. And so it's not required. And then next question. Someone is congratulating all of the grant recipients. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Congratulations, guys. And so let's see what else. Okay, looking. Are there reports that need to be completed? Yes. So for our grant partners that will be that have received funds already, and the ones that will be getting funded even the next round, ARPA has significant grant reporting requirements in comparison to some of our other grant programs. So with other grant programs, it was just, are you alive in Prince William County? That was pretty much it. And now for many of these services, you have to prove income eligibility. You have to show that you were impacted by the pandemic. You have to just prove a few different things. And like we said, it's not related at all to your immigration status, your citizenship, but there are different things that you have to have in terms of supporting documentation. Each of our grant partners has been trained on what it is that they need to provide. So when you make a referral to somebody, they'll be able to assess what is needed from the person that's sitting in front of them, and then they'll complete that reporting. And we did we've done a number of trainings on how to complete reporting, and we will also be doing even more as we get into reporting as this project goes on. But so for someone who maybe hasn't been funded yet, who is interested in the program, definitely there are reports. Something else, this is a question, and this question is, people would like to know how we're going to share the impacts of these programs. And so the question is, are you envisioning a central information page where we can find demographic and economic data sets to help directing our work at the zip code level? And what about outcome reports so we can learn what type of impact different groups are having in the county? And then it says, I see this effort as a coordinated project where we can move people to different levels of services within the participant organizations. Absolutely. And so if you go to right now, it doesn't have a whole lot on there because we just gave our grant partners the money. But as they start reporting, we will share what the outcomes of those efforts are on our ARPA webpage. That is our centralized page, and it's alliancegpw.org/ARPA. And that is in the chat. It's also all throughout the presentation, and we will provide it to you as well at the end. But as we have additional information to put up there, additional resources, additional data sets and outcomes to share, it's all going to go through there. And we'll also be sending it out to our mailing list. And so many of you are on our mailing list. If you are not, we will add you to that mailing list. If you are registered to attend this Zoom meeting, you can also go to our website, and on our contact us page, and also on the ARPA webpage, you can sign up directly yourself to our e-newsletter. So if you just want to hop on there yourself, you can do that. Okay, let's see. Reggie, did you have any direct questions?
Let me see. I didn't get many. Where can we learn more about these projects? So we answered that. You can learn more about the projects on the website Chelsea just went over.
Yeah.
That I only had one more question. One person, I definitely said this, well, after they said this, but I said this during the thing. They're asking that if they weren't funded and they submitted an application, are we open to going over their application with them and just telling them how the score was? Yes, we are 100% open to that. If you want us to do that, please email grants@alliancegpw.org and we can set up a time to go over that for anybody who wants to just briefly go over their application. So that's the only question that I got. I think most came to you. It had a couple direct ones, but awesome. Yep, that's all I have. Well, I have one just pop up. Will Alliance support a Zoom for partner collaboration so we can discuss? So we can, what we're going to do actually, even what we do as the Alliance, just in general as the Alliance, is we do have a lot of events that is made up of the community where we will be talking about various topics, where we will be doing various training. So even in forms of support that we're going to be doing over Zoom is because this is such a long project. One thing that we're asking all of our grant partners to report to us is if they're having any barriers or any problems that are coming up as they're spending the money, as they're reporting, or anything that they think they would like to share with the class of all of us. And then as they share that, one thing that we're going to be doing throughout the time, and why we are going to have more employment, why we are going to have more support in terms of with this project, is because if something is a barrier for 3 or 4 people, we assume that it's a barrier for a lot more. So we're going to be doing more support Zooms. We're going to be talking about a lot of things that are coming up with a lot of organizations in the form of events coming up in these next 2 years. So absolutely, we plan on doing more support groups and more partner collaboration amongst people. That is actually a very needed thing and something that we're going to focus on a good bit.
Absolutely. And that was the only other question I got too. Got the same one. So definitely so. So while we just wrap this up, if there are any more questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Now it's a time for our shameless plugs. So this is new because we're not good at always shamelessly plugging ourselves. So we're going to practice this today. On May 26th, you can go ahead and save the date. We are having an event that's called Fellowship of Faith. And what that is it is an in-person gathering where you can actually, if you are a human services provider at a faith-based organization, you can come and you can talk to other human services providers to discuss how it is that you all are doing your work, any barriers that you're seeing, any really cool, innovative techniques that you're finding to provide services, and then also learn how to access additional community services in the community. And so that event is going to be specifically geared to people who are serving the community through houses of worship and different types of faith-based organizations. Of course, all are welcome to come, but so we will be putting out some more information about that coming up very soon. Also, on June 23rd, we are super excited about this. Not only are we having our annual meeting, which is always fun, it's always great to see all of you all, but we will be reintroducing our Labor of Love Awards. So when we were the coalition, we did Labor of Love Awards, and now we are the Coalition 2.0. As the Alliance, we are, we are the evolution of the coalition, but we want to honor those roots. We want to go back and hearken to that time. And it was such a beautiful program that we like to continue it as the Alliance. And we wanted to be able to do it safely in person. And the last couple of years did not really allow us to do that in the way that we would have liked to. So we are, fingers crossed, send up a prayer. We're going to be trying to do this live and in person on June the 23rd. So we will be putting out information about how you can nominate individuals and groups to receive those awards, and also information about how, if you're an Alliance member, you can actually serve on the review committee to review those award submissions. So keep your ears peeled. Like we said, get on our e-newsletter list if you're not already on there, because we will be making some announcements about that very soon. Also, in talking about being an Alliance member, if you are an Alliance member and you would like to serve on our board of directors, you will be in amazing company. I highly recommend it. It's a wonderful board to serve on. We will be pushing out more information about that. You can actually go to our website now because it is already posted, and there is a link on our leadership page where you can submit your information and we will contact you to add you to the ballot for our board elections, which will be coming up in the month of June. So if you're interested in serving on a board, it's the 2-year term. It's a wonderful board to be on. Everybody's great. We love our board members. So if you'd like to come and work with us, we are growing our board. So we're adding a few seats this year. So we have more seats to fill, and we are looking very much forward to that election and the candidates that will be running for that. And lastly, but certainly not least, we want you to join the Alliance. If you have never heard of the Alliance before today, if you are not a member, it costs $50 if you're an individual annually, and it costs $100 for an organization. We hope that you will join us. We have a lot of great things that we are planning for not only just our grant partners and our community, but also exclusive member events. And so if you have not joined, you can actually go to our website, and then it's alliancegw.org/join. There's a big tab that says join, and you can join. And we want you to join. All right. So I don't see any more questions. Reggie, did you get any more questions? I don't know if you did.
Nope, I'm good. I'm sorry, I put it on mute.
Well, then in that case, everyone, we thank you so much. If there's anything that you heard today that you'd like more information on, you can visit our website. You can get the slide deck. It's already been posted to our website, as well as the contact list where you can reach out to all of the wonderful organizations that we mentioned today. And you can see what hour is the food pantry open, what day can I come here, what's the number to call for this, what's the link to visit for that. Everything you need is there. We're going to be optimizing that website in the coming months. We're going to be optimizing those resources, making our lists more user-friendly, trying to just get all of the different things we can do to make things, the best that they can be for you all in terms of making sure that things have more language access. So stay tuned. We've got a lot of great things coming up, and I won't keep you any longer. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day and a great weekend, and we will be in touch with you soon. Take care, guys.